Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Welcome back to the Ask Ralph show. It seems like at least once a week, I'll have a client come in and talk about how they're scared of retirement and they feel like they haven't planned enough for retirement. And this is a difficult situation. It's never a great conversation to have with clients. So I came across an article that was written, which called 5 Ways You Can Still Secure the Retirement You Want. It's written by Eric C. Jansen. He's the founder and president and CIO of Aspen Cross Wealth Management. And this article was originally appeared in Investopedia.com. And I thought he made some very good points of how to, still secure the retirement you want, even if you've waited a little bit too long. So, what do we do here? So what happens if you don't have enough saved to retire? You certainly don't want to be stuck working forever, but you have a choice if the investments in your portfolio aren't enough to support you. But you need to do your homework. You need to explore your options. Understand what you can do to make a positive impact to your financial situation, and focus on what you can control. And that's the key. What are the things you can control? So number one thing recommended here is change your retirement timeline. And I know this isn't ideal, but you can still have the retirement you want if you're willing to work a little longer for it. What am I talking about here? Working an extra 5 years can have a massive impact on your nest egg. And that's because the last years of your career are usually also your highest earning years. That will potentially allow you to make the catch-up contributions you need to make your nest egg valuable and fund your retirement. If the thought of 5 more years of your existing job is unbearable, and trust me, I hear this all the time with clients, I got to get out of this job, is horrible. Well, then you need to think about how can you improve the situation. Could you reduce your hours? Could you request flex time? Can you work from home? Maybe not every day, but some days. This is where you talk to your supervisor about your options and get creative in a way to make the extra few years feel a little less like work. Maybe it comes down to changing your position, doing something you haven't done before. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to work an extra decade or more, and you can still enjoy a long retirement after you give your nest egg a little boost. Plus, and don't forget about this, those extra years could help your retirement planning in other ways, like increasing your Social Security benefits. And we've talked about that before on the show, so I'm not going to belabor that a lot. We'll talk about it some today. Number 2, double down on your savings and reconsider your investment strategy. You can still retire when you want if you're willing to make the most of your final working years. And how do you do that? Well, the first thing is to review your budget and find places to tighten your belt so you can save more. Consider pursuing potential pay raises, job promotions, or even working more or overtime hours to boost your income, which is going to boost your savings, assuming you don't spend it all. You could even land a side job, like driving for Uber or Lyft, or find a way to utilize an idling asset. Maybe you've got some assets at your house and, for example, maybe you've got a lawnmower a nice riding mower, and you could pick up some lawn cutting if you wanted to do that. But the key to that is to make the most of your savings by taking advantage of catch-up contributions to your retirement plans. I don't know how many people know this, but people 50 and older are allowed to contribute $1,000 more per year to an individual IRA account, so up to $6,500. But even better than that, they can contribute an extra $6,000 or up to a total of $24,500 towards a 401k plan. And that can really multiply your retirement savings quickly. But of course, if you've got those things available to you, you need to take advantage of them. In addition to simply trying to save money, take a moment to review your investments. This is a great time to sit down with your financial advisor and take a look at your risk. As your investment horizon gets smaller, as you get closer to retirement, you need to make sure that you've taken a look at your risk tolerances. You don't have the time. I hear people say all the time, well, the market over the long haul is always moving upward. That's great. That's fine. But if you've got to retire in 5 years, you need to have a heart-to-heart discussion with your financial planner and say, listen, how much volatility do I have over the next 5 years in the investment portfolio that I have? So you may need to reconsider that. Now, one of the things I do hear a lot of people talking about is they'll meet with their broker and say, well, my broker says I'm really underfunded for retirement, so I've got to throw the dice on this. Now, I'm not sure that I'm a huge fan of that. I've never been one to give out financial advice. But it's kind of the old adage of, nothing in life is free. So if you've not adequately saved for retirement, I personally am not a big fan of just taking and rolling the dice and finding, the most, risky thing you can find so that you can max out your retirement in the short term. I just think that's a bad idea. That's kind of like taking, your retirement nest egg down to the casino and betting it all on black. Well, yeah, you have the opportunity to win and, maybe double your money, but you also have the opportunity to lose all your money. So that's why it's important to sit down with a financial planner. Number 3, find ways to make money in retirement. Doing nothing in retirement is not a good thing for you, both physically and mentally. I can't tell you how many clients I've had who have retired and their health has gone downhill because they just don't have anything to focus on. One of the things you could do is start a business you always wanted to pursue. You could monetize a hobby or just plan to work part-time in a position you enjoy. I've had several clients who've retired and said, I've always wanted to be one of those guys at the Lowe's or the Home Depot that helps people figure out, what bolt they need or what is the thing to repair their sink or something like that. So that could be something you might be interested in. And if you've adequately prepared for retirement, then you might want to consider, putting your experience to work at a charitable organization. As an example here, it says, consider a part-time gig at a local country club can mean even reduced greens fees or dining room discounts and maybe actually enjoyable. Earning even a small amount of income in your retirement years means you don't have to rely 100% on your savings to fund your lifestyle. And that means you may be able to retire with a little less in the bank. Number 4, adjust your retirement lifestyle. Living more frugally is absolutely worth it when you consider why you're doing it. Take time to identify where expenses may decrease in retirement, such as expenses you currently have for your children. If your children are leaving the nest, you're not going to have those expenses. Then you need to take a look at places in your budget where your spending is no longer in line with your needs or priorities. One of the things they mention here is consider downsizing your home or moving to an area that has a lower cost of living. I have a ton of clients that are moving from New Jersey and Pennsylvania into Delaware to take advantage of the lower property taxes. And the other thing you can do if you're going to downsize your house is that equity you have in your home, you can take that equity to bolster your savings. So, if you've got a $400,000 house, you sell it, you've got no, mortgage on that. You put that, let's say you buy a house that's half that cost, $200,000. Well, then you've just freed up $200,000 that you can put to work in your investment portfolio. And the last one here they mentioned here is delaying Social Security claiming. And we've talked about this before. You may not want to work in retirement, but taking on a part-time job for the first few years, you can delay claiming Social Security benefits, which could significantly boost your retirement. What you need to understand is your benefits increase by 7 to 8% as you go forward. This is very important if you haven't at least worked 35 years, because that's what they're going to use as your earnings history. But a check that is 15% higher from delaying just 2 years of taking your Social Security can make a huge difference. So retiring well by making the most of your time and taking a look at how can you set yourself up for a better retirement plan. I hope this was helpful.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.